Hey everyone, so today we are going to discuss configuration management. Configuration management. It is an IT management procedure that keeps track of many configuration components of an IT system. IT systems are made up of IT assets with different levels of granularity. So software configuration management is frequently used in conjunction with version control and CI/CD infrastructure. It is a method in systems engineering that keeps track of and monitors modification to a software system's metadata.
Why is configuration management important? Configuration management is a necessary tool for managing complex software systems. Lack of configuration management can cause serious problems with reliability, uptime, and the ability to scale a system. Many current software development tools nowadays have configuration management features built in. So configuration management helps engineering teams build robust and stable systems through the use of tools that automatically manage and monitor updates to configuration data. Complex software systems are composed of components that differ in granularity of size and complexity. For a more concrete example, consider a microservice architecture. Each service in a microservice architecture uses configuration metadata to register itself and initialize. So some examples of software configuration metadata are: first, we have specifications of computational hardware resource allocations for CPU, RAM, and etc. Second, we have endpoints that specify external connections to other services, databases, or domains. Third, we have secrets like passwords and encryption keys. So it's easy for these configuration values to become an afterthought, leading to the configuration to become disorganized and scattered. Imagine numerous post-it notes with passwords and URLs blowing around an office. Configuration management solves this challenge by creating a source of truth with a central location for configuration. So there are various problems that the configuration management can resolve, and thus this is why configuration management is important.
How configuration management fits with DevOps, CI or CD, and Agile. Configuration data has historically been hard to wrangle and can easily become an afterthought. It's not really code, so it's not immediately put in version control, and it's not first-class data, so it isn't stored in a primary database. Traditional and small-scale system administration is usually done with a collection of scripts and ad hoc processes. Configuration data can be overlooked at times, but it is critical to system operation. DevOps configuration management. Configuration management is the key part of DevOps lifestyle. DevOps configuration is a evolution of automation of the system administration role, bringing automation to infrastructure management and deployment. DevOps configuration also brings system administration responsibility under the umbrella of software engineering. Enterprises today utilize it to empower software engineers to request and provision needed resources on demand. This removes a potential organizational dependency bottleneck of a software development team waiting for resources from a separate system administration team. CI or CD configuration management. CI or CD configuration management utilizes pull request-based code review workflows to automate deployment of code changes to a live software system. This same flow can be applied to configuration changes. CI or CD can be set up so that approved configuration change requests can immediately be deployed to a running system. A perfect example of this process is a GetOps workflow. Agile configuration management. Configuration management enables agile teams to clearly prioritize configuration work. Example of configuration work are chores and tasks like update the production SSL certificates, add a new database endpoint, change the password for dev, staging, and production email services, add API keys for a new third-party integration. Once a configuration management platform is in place, teams have visibility into the work required for configuration tasks. Configuration management work can be identified as dependencies for other work and properly addressed as part of agile sprints.
The configuration management tools. Configuration management tools automate the process of identifying, documenting, and tracking changes in the hardware, software, and devices in an IT environment. So, Git or Git, the most popular version control tool for tracking code changes by storing configuration management information alongside code in a Git repository. You may receive a full version control view of the entire project. The next is the Docker. The Docker platform is based on configuration files known as Docker files, which provide a series of instructions that are evaluated in order to reconstruct the expected operating system snapshot. These Docker files are used to build containers that are clones of previously specified applications. Terraform. HashiCorp's Terraform is an open source configuration management platform. Terraform is compatible with AWS or the Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and other cloud platforms. For common infrastructure components such as servers, databases, and queues, each cloud platform has its own representation and interface. The Ansible, SaltStack, Chef, and Puppet. IT automation frameworks including Ansible, SaltStack, Chef, and Puppet. Many typical system administrator processes are automated by these frameworks, which framework employs a set of configuration data files, often YAML or XML, which are analyzed by an executable. The configuration data files outline the steps to be taken to configure a system. The program then executes the operations. The language of the executable varies between systems. Ansible and SaltStack are Python-based, whereas Chef is Ruby-based. This method is analogous to executing ad hoc shell scripts, but it provides a more structured and polished experience through ecosystems of the various platforms. These technologies will provide the automation required to accomplish CI or CD. That's all.
What is version control system? Version control systems are software tools that helps in recording changes made to files by keeping track of modifications done in the code. Software products are major collaborations by a group of software engineers. Some of them are remotely working or not in the office. Each of the groups contributes different software features in order to contribute to the product. They made modifications to the source code. Version control system uses to help teams to efficiently communicate, manage modifications, able to see who are the responsible team that manages the certain part of the source code. It not only keeps code organized but also improves productivity. Purpose of version control system. It can work efficiently on a project, enable a person to use multiple computers to work on a project, provide access to the historical versions of projects.
As we have already defined a vision control system, so let's move forward to Docker. So the Docker is a set of platform as a service products that is used to OS level virtualization to deliver software in packages called containers. The service has both free and premium tiers. The software that hosts the containers is called Docker Engine. So it was first started in 2013 and it is developed by Docker Incorporated. So Docker is used for packages software into standardized units called containers that have everything the software needs to run, including the libraries, system tools, code, and runtime. With Docker, you can easily scale and deploy apps into any environment while being certain to your code that will work. So containers simply develop and delivery of distributed applications. So they have become increasingly popular as organizations shift to cloud-native development and hybrid multi-cloud environments. So it is possible for developers to create containers without Docker by working directly to capabilities into working Linux and other operating system. But with Docker, it makes containerization faster, easier, and safer. At this writing, Docker reported over 13 million developers using the platform. What is the difference between Docker and virtual machine? So virtual machine have an OS and guest OS inside. So a guest OS can be any OS with Linux and Windows, irrespective to the host OS. And in contrast, Docker containers host on a single physical server with an host. Each shares among them. So in addition, Docker can be classified as a tool in the virtual machine platforms and containers category, while VirtualBox is grouped under virtualization platform. And some of the features offered by Docker are integrated developers such as open and portable images. Sharing the host OS between containers makes them light and increases the boot time. Docker containers are considered suitable to run multiple applications over a single OS, whereas virtual machines are needed if the applications or services are required to run on a different OS. Running a dedicated kernel and OS has a couple of advantages. Security of isolation is one of the primary ones. For example, from the perspective of host system, there is no way of knowing what is running inside the virtual machine. As the kernel is shared between containers in the same host, there is a greater, however, a very small risk of bad actor being able to escape its containment and assessing the underlying host. So with VM or virtual machine, it is harder as a kernels that are not shared, which reduces the attack surface of the to the underlying hardware. We could go into more technical detail about the difference between a container runtime and a virtual machine, or how container storage snapshotting is implemented compared with how you persist data within virtual machine. But these differences are not typically as important for someone who is simply deciding whether they would use a containers or a virtual machine.
So to demonstrate Docker server, I will just use Linode. It's a cloud service provider. Now go to marketplace, search for your app, which is we want to select Docker, image, region, Singapore, closest to our country. See, plan, my Docker. Enter your SSH password to access the server later. Okay. We will just wait. And now it's booting. What we want here is an SSH access. Just gonna copy this and paste to our terminal here, so that we can connect to our Docker server. we're just gonna go like docker pull CentOS. I want to install another Linux distribution named CentOS. Okay, so it's already in the our docker server. Just gonna run docker td and the name of our OS, our container 1, then the name of the image for the CentOS. Oh, docker run. I forgot to put run here. And it's done. It's gonna go docker.ps. We have created a container. So I want to set up a web server on my docker server using nginx. It's gonna go docker pool nginx, and the server is downloading the library. And docker, the same docker run. It's gonna zoom that out. Docker run td, name my website container 2, but you can name anything. I just want to label my list of my container and the name of the docker image, which is nginx. And we're done. Just gonna type. So we have 2 container here. To stop this one container or other containers, to stop containers, just gonna go docker stop nginx, container number 2. Okay, docker to uninstall or remove docker rm, just gonna docker rm container 2. Okay, to install again, just gonna docker pull docker run td name container 2. I forgot to put the port here to access our website. Port 8080, and the name container 2 and the docker image, which is nginx, and docker ps. So it's back here, container 2. To access this container, just gotta go docker exec it and the name of the container 2. Just gotta go here. I forgot to put bash and the last one. So we already have access, which as you can see, container ID is the same with this one. So this is nginx. Just gonna ls and go to cd user. So to prove that it works, our web server works, just gonna copy this one and go to this. Just gonna copy this IP address and paste it here. So here, welcome to nginx. So to prove it more, we just gotta go here. We're gonna build a static website. We're gonna cd user. Forgot cd user. I'm just gonna cd user. I forgot the directory. Cd user share nginx, then html. Okay. So this is the index.html where we actually see on here, welcome to nginx. We can just type index.html. So here, right, we want to put our static website, for example, like echo script alert, welcome to my website, and save it as echo.html, and then we can access it to our website here. I'm gonna go echo.html. Boom. Oh, it's not having a alert thing. It's because Yeah, it should be like string. I'll go back here. It should be like this. See how it's working. So this is another way how you can use a Docker, and more complex, like if you want to build a website with a lot of functionality, Docker is the best way to have.
How to implement configuration management. First, identification. Information gathering is the first step in configuration management. For all the components and services in use, configuration data should be collected and combined from various application environments, including development, staging, and production. At this point, configuration data ought to be arranged into data files that can be used as a single authoritative source. Second, baseline. A baseline can be created once configuration data has been compiled and arranged. A baseline configuration is a known configuration that will enable the dependent software to run successfully and error-free. This baseline is typically established by reviewing and committing the configuration of an operational production environment. The third one is version control. A version control system should be used for your development project. Ensure that any secret data, such as passwords or keys, are encrypted with an external key before adding configuration data to a repository. A huge risk exists when secret data is intentionally added to a repository. It must be removed from the repository's history in order to prevent misuse. And lastly, auditing. This aids in developing a system for accounting and auditing. Collaboration and visibility into the system's configuration are made possible by the organization and addition of configuration data to a repository. Then, configuration data files can be subjected to the well-known pull request workflow that software teams employ to review and edit code. The team must review and approve any configuration modification before they are implemented. Accountability and visibility for configuration changes and increase as a result.
So, update management. The practice of configuration management involves keeping software, server, and computer system in consistent, desirable condition. It's a method of ensuring that a system functions as expected as modifications are made to it over time. Update management is an administrator's control over operating system, platform, or application updates. It involves identifying system features that can be improved or fixed, creating that improvements or fix, releasing the update package, and validating the installation of those updates. So why bother updates? So why? The goal of these upgrades is to enhance the user experience, even though frequent update notification might be inconvenient, just like Windows updates, especially if you use a number of different programs, they can ultimately enhance your experience and guarantee that you get the most of your technologies. And also in the security concern, there's also eco security concern why you need to one of the reason why you need to always update your system. Many of the most dangerous malware attacks that we observe depend on software security flaws in widely used programs like operating system and browsers, especially Google Chrome. Google Chrome uh, got like 300 vulnerabilities that has been discovered over 11,000 overall security vulnerabilities. So imagine that I am using Google right now. Uh, if it's outdated, it could be vulnerable to those attacks. These are substantial applications that must be updated frequently to be secured and reliable. Consider software updates as one of the most important measures you can take to secure your information rather than putting off installing them. So you always need to update your Windows. Please do not skip a most crucial updates, and please turn always your um, Microsoft Windows Defender if you are using Windows operating system. So that's all. Thank you for listening and hope you have a good day.